Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the first live. Today I'm gonna actually wait for a few people to join. Oh Lord, a few things to chat about today. First live. I don't know how this is gonna go. I currently have my Instagram up and running as well. Instagram, YouTube, everybody, both are running. Going live right now on YouTube and Instagram. Gonna be talking about a few things that I think as human beings we should talk about, we should essentially move on with and have let's see. Just gonna give this a few minutes for everybody to join. Hopefully, don't know how this YouTube thing goes, but hopefully Instagram people start joining in a few seconds. I'll give you guys some time to join. All right, let's see. Let's see what's going on the YouTube and Instagram channels. All right, you know what? Let me All right, let's see what's going on here. Gonna wait for a few people to join. I know YouTube is up and running now. Let's send this out to a few people. Get some people coming in on this. Let's see what's happening. Let's play some free non-copyright music and background. Let's see what's going on here. The YouTube live seems pretty empty, and that's okay. It's the first YouTube live. Instagram seems as if we have one person in here. Not too sure who it is, but it is our good friends over at Gazebo Burgers. Maybe we'll do a live over at Gazebo Burgers one day. That's what we'll do. Maybe if I go live at Gazebo Burgers, we can have more people in on the chat. All right, let's see. Let's give you guys a few minutes to join. And we're going to be talking about a whole bunch of stuff today. Hello, hello, hello. Oh my God. All right, guys. So we're currently live on YouTube and Instagram. We're gonna be going over a few things today. Some of the topics that we're gonna be talking about are um, understanding your own enemy, change, why change is good, moving with energy, the triple A's, which are acknowledgement, acceptance, and avoidance, and the triple C's, calmness, clarity, and consistency. So we're just going to give this a few more minutes and we are going to start with today's talk. Today's talk is sponsored none other by absolutely nobody. But I hope whatever we do talk about, whatever I'm able to talk about today helps anybody in the system that's looking to step out of the matrix. So join, tell your friends, get in. Let's start this. We're going to give this 30 more seconds and we're going to start talking about what we need to talk about. What's your favorite motivational speaker? Let's see. If there's any questions, do drop down the questions in the question section, and we will take this to where we need to take it. All right. So Today, I really want to bring a few topics at hand that I see a lot of people experiencing troubles with, and a lot of people kind of working towards not understanding um, how they can become the best version of themselves. And it is mostly important because it's really actually important that we take that into consideration the moment we're able to realize that change needs to happen in our lives. Sometimes we do not, we experience one of the triple A's, which is avoidance. Avoidance kind of has us in a state of fear, constant state of fear that does not allow us to accept or acknowledge the state we're in. We continuously run from what we're dealing with because either we're fearful that are we not strong enough to deal with what we're dealing with, or can we deal with what we need to deal with, or are we going to fail? And that fear of failure is really what kind of takes us from living the best versions of ourselves, living out to be the best versions of ourselves, to being what economy wants us to be, what society wants us to be. And that's one of the things I really wanted to touch on. The other thing best that works best along with the triple A's, which is acknowledgement, acceptance, and avoidance, is the triple C's: your calmness, your clarity, and your consistency. Now, your subconscious is one tool that we don't utilize on a day-to-day basis, and that's not something that I want anybody to continuously ignore. It is definitely one aspect that everybody should and continuously have in the back of their mind, well, in the forefront of their life, in the back of their mind. Now, why is your subconscious so important? Your subconscious is important for many reasons. One, the way you speak to yourself in the times that you don't realize that you need yourself to help you out of the situations that you're in, your subconscious kicks in. So let's say for the last month, you've been telling yourself, you've been doubting yourself, you've been putting yourself in a negative state of mind. They call it a state of mind for a reason. Now, whether it is a present state of mind or a past state of mind, it is a state of mind nonetheless. Now, what happens to your subconscious if you continuously start speaking to yourself in a negative manner? You start storing all this energy in the back of your head, in the back of your mind, not realizing that when the day comes by and you need someone to be there for yourself, you're the first person that's going to come to your aid and to your help is you. And with you coming to you, you would obviously want the best version of you to help you out. Now, we all hear those voices in our heads when we're dealing with a certain situation, whether it is something we're looking to get help with, whether we need help with something, whether we're looking to go to somebody for help. And it's those voices that I'm talking about. Now, if we continuously allow ourselves to speak to ourselves about ourselves in a negative manner, all we're doing is we're loading that cache of thoughts into our subconscious. So when the time comes that we actually need our subconscious to kick in, it is not kicking in at its optimal levels. All that's happening is your subconscious is continuously telling yourself you are now a human being. You cannot do it. You are fearful. Is that something that you want to embody for the rest of your life? I don't think it is. I don't think it's something that I want to embody for the rest of my life. I have been there. I have done it. I have spoken to myself in negative ways. Now, the way to get out of having your subconscious store this negative energy, it all starts with you playing tricks on your mind. Now, everybody hears the term, when you don't want to go to the gym is the time where you should go to the gym. Why is that? Now, the reason people say that and people actually follow that is because that is you tricking your mind into moving itself into a more positive manner, into actually getting yourself out of the depressed mood and state of mind that you're currently in to where you want to be. And that's exactly how your subconscious works. Now, if you believe that you will fail at the situation that you're going to deal with, or if you feel that you're doubtful of where you're going to be, then you've already failed it 70 to 80%. Believe me when I tell you, you are capable of almost anything and everything that you can set your mind to, only if you feed your subconscious properly. Now, food for thought. If you are looking to embody a new hobby, you're looking to go on a new trip, or you're looking to meet a new person, if you tell yourself this person's out of my league, or this trip is, what if a negative situation happens with me on this trip? What if I get lost? Or what if I fail at going for my real estate license, for as an example? You are subconsciously talking yourself out of an opportunity that could work itself into the best opportunity of your life. Now, the only difference that you're placing yourself into is that negative realm of talk. So again, it falls into you playing tricks on yourself to trick yourself into getting into where you want to be. It doesn't always work out in your favor, but you won't understand your subconscious, how your subconscious works, unless you try to trick it into your favor. There's been multiple times where I've looked myself in the mirror and realized that my own enemy is the person within myself. We're gonna wait for this for a second. It's okay. Now, realizing that my own enemy is myself, I begin to realize that I am to blame for some of my actions, and it's much easier. It's actually a much easier process to take when you start blaming yourself for your actions and how you could have controlled the situations, and the situations that you dealt with, and the situations that worked out, whether or not it's in your favor. It's best for you to take control by blaming yourself, seeing how you could have changed the results had you changed your actions. One part of this paragraph, one part of this book that I continuously come back to and that I read on a constant basis is it says, yes, it's much easier in human nature not to take the blame for instances in our lives when it comes to situations that do not play out in our favor. These not so favorable moments are the exact moments where we need to do a reality check and say, I'm the core of the problem, I'm the issue, I'm the one to blame. It's like when your team accomplishes something great and you are there to either take the credit or say congratulations. However, when your team, and when I say team in this context, I mean life, does not work out in your favor, you are faced with the only choice to take blame. It is on you that you did not lead your team properly. This is life and its choices. We constantly fall, whether we're men or women, in the victimization, in the victim mindset. Whether we like it or not, it's much easier to say, life did this to me, that's what happened, I can't take it anymore, that's what happened with me, and it sucks, because you start becoming the passenger in life rather than the driver. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is the core of what we do as human beings in 2023 or 2020 or 2021 or 2022. We avoid the two subjects of acknowledgement and acceptance. Now, women and men both play the same role in avoidance of taking the blame on what really causes the problem. Actions and reactions are they're two ideas, two ideologies that play into each other. And it's super important that we start acknowledging the root cause of the problem. I know, for example, if I caused a reaction in someone and I caused someone to talk a certain way with me or do a certain thing with me, I can sit there and blame them all my life Or I can sit there and say to myself, I may have been the problem there. I may have been the individual that caused this reaction. So how am I going to fix it in the future so it doesn't happen again? Now, not only am I taking away from their power of holding whatever they have over me, but I'm also taking away their responsibility for what I need to stand up for. Now, you also have to understand, um, you also have to understand that acknowledgement acceptance only comes with the maturity of an individual, and how long that may take, we don't know. You have to give yourself the time, the love, and the forgiveness in order for you to become the person of acknowledgement, the person of acceptance, and the person who does not avoid avoidance of the subject at hand. It takes time, and I want everybody here that's watching this to understand that that too is okay. It's okay if it takes time. It's okay if it takes you 5, 10 years, a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. The reality of the situation is we all have lives. We all have situations that may or may not play in our favor. But as long as we're beginning to acknowledge and accept where we are right now, we begin the process of depleting avoidance in our lives. Now, with acknowledgement and acceptance comes life's tribulations and trials, and the different aspects that life will throw at us. As men, we must rise to the occasion of being men. We must be accountable to our actions. We must be accepting to the actions that we may or may not portray in our day-to-day lives. With that being said, one thing that we must continuously realize is we must move with calmness, clarity, and consistency. Acceptance and acknowledgement only comes when someone's mind, heart, and soul is truly calm. We must not act out of emotion. Acting out of emotion leads us into places that we don't want to be in. And that is not a place where we can start accepting and taking blame for what we've done or who we are as a human being. Now, you really are, this is another part in the book that I write. It says you really are freed the moment you look in the mirror and realize that you have control over your life the way you've always wanted. Your reflection is your best friend and the worst enemy negativity could have. The positivity in you exists to get you out of the rut that you're in. Taking blame for situations only allows you to find peace in the problem you're facing. Blaming yourself becomes nothing but a mere metaphor for timely forgiveness. Can you take the blame for creating happiness? You will. And why? Because it's your own doing and you caused it. You've caused an action that you have now acknowledged and accepted, and now are figuring out how you can stop it in the future. And now you're forgiving yourself so that you may not do it again. Guess what? This is the first step of you becoming the best version of yourself. You may have not done this yesterday, you may have not done this a week ago, but you are doing it today. And if you do not do it today, you can wake up tomorrow, and by God's will, you can wake up tomorrow and take that opportunity that God's given you to do it all over again. That is the chance that I'm talking about, where today is the day that you become you again. You may have slipped and fallen off the path of success, but that does not mean you will remain there. You will continue rebuilding till you become the best version of yourself. Taking the blame for your actions is huge. I want to bring this a little bit closer to everybody. I remember in 2015, after my ex and I broke up, when there was a lot of anger and resentment over the issue from my end, I was furious. I'm reading this again from my book. I bring a very personal and vulnerable story to everybody reading it. It says, I was furious with the way things ended and the amount of tension that was there, and I stemmed from two people who had loved each other. I hated the fact that I couldn't stand the thought of her after our breakup and never wanted to be around those who had a relationship remotely close to her. I remember driving thinking to myself that I needed to forgive her for everything that she had done and for the way things played out post breakup. I wasn't to forgive her because she had done me wrong, but rather to forgive her so that I can move on. A part of that forgiveness was me realizing I was to blame for the reaction I took post breakup. I could have handled things differently, thought more logically, been able to love and rationalize separately, but the fact is I didn't. Coming from forgiving her and myself for the situation and taking blame was easy. It became natural for me to say it is my fault for not reacting better to the situation I'm in. Now, can you blame yourself? Of course you can. And of course, it's natural for you to realize that you are at fault for the actions that you're portraying. Now, this is the clarity that I'm talking about. When you look yourself in the mirror, the man in the mirror or the woman in the mirror looks itself back at a clear image, you are now looking at clarity. Men run away from this. This is the reality that I'm talking about. Men run away from this. One second, it's way too hot. Men run away from clarity. Men run away from acknowledgement, and men run away from acceptance because it has two things to deal with. It has to do with your pride and your ego. Now, pride and ego only stems from a few different places of a person's past, of a person's trauma. It comes from invalidation. It comes from not being able to get certain things in life. So they strive for the best, knowing that they don't want to get hurt again. So their pride builds up over time and their ego does not let go. Now, when we start looking at consistency and clarity, we must realize that consistency is a hard task to achieve, and that is okay. It's not easy, but with time, consistency can be developed. It's discipline. It is discipline at its finest. Now, discipline can be taught. It's not that you're born with discipline. It can be taught, but you must have the will to be disciplined. I had an individual one time, I had an old mentor of mine teach me the power of no and defining the power of no. So, a lot of times we take away from what we want because we're people pleasers. We want to please others, forgetting that the first individual that we should please is ourselves. And the power of no takes away from anybody else's power and responsibility over our happiness and creates a realm of our own subconscious, like our own bubble of peace that we can later take into the future self, into our future selves. The power of no also depletes us from pleasing others, and at the same time allows us to bring back that power that we once relieved to others. And this is the clarity that I'm talking about. Once you're able to define and discipline yourself to the things that you do not want, you start figuring out the things that you want and how they will easily make themselves, how easily it will make itself back into your life. With all this, with all this comes the discipline of your emotion. Whether you are a man or a woman. Now, women in nature, and this is going to be a topic that's going to basically unravel a few comments, and that's totally okay. But women in nature are emotional beings. They're more emotional than men. Unfortunately, society has made men at this point very emotional beings, unhealthy emotional beings. Men should be emotional, but it does not mean that we should constantly portray this blockade of negative emotions to people. No, what I'm saying is, discipline your emotions. Okay, so don't make promises when you're happy, in a state of euphoria, and do not, do not get into any arguments when you are in a state of anger. This is the discipline that creates clarity in your life and calmness. When you are able to restore your clarity, move with calmness, and stay consistent, you will start benefiting from the changes in your life. Now, whether or not it's a good change or a bad change, only time will tell. But I want everybody here listening to understand that fear does not exist. Half the time, we're only fearful of fear itself. Change is good if we want it to be. Now, where we would be in 2 or 3 or 4 years, we do not know. But if our actions today, these small little actions, if our actions today are actions of good will and actions of genuine, of a genuine being from a genuine place, I promise you, like a domino effect, everything you're in your life will manifest itself into where you want it to be. Whether or not you like it, you will get to where you want to be as long as you're placing in the correct actions for today. Your tomorrow will come. And if you're fearful, whether or not an opportunity will work out for you, you're already 90% there on the fail side. You must not fear an opportunity that may or may not work itself out for you. Now, play the risk. And I talk about risk in this chapter, in this book. I talk about risk on page 57 of this book. I talk about taking risk. I talk about mentalizing risk. I talk about risking your heart for love. I talk about risking the words that come out of your mouth to the individuals in front of you. But you need to assess every single situation prior to taking that risk. But do not be fearful of the situation for your future. It could play itself out for you where you may enter into an opportunity that may open up so many more doors for you that you were fearful of. And the only thing holding you back is fear itself. It's your subconscious. It is your subconscious holding you back. Now, why do I say your subconscious? Because the whole time before this opportunity presented itself to you, you thought to yourself that you couldn't achieve it. So what is it? You do not need to be in a fearful state of mind. Half the time we're on our phones, we're on our laptops, we're watching the news. We're in a constant state of fear because what is fed to us. Nobody wants to see us succeed. Everybody is out there, including our our economy, our social medias, all media outlets. What they have out to us does not allow us to succeed. I want you to feed your subconscious. Make these mental notes. Write this down. I will feed my subconscious positive thoughts, healthy thoughts, strength thoughts. I will speak to myself in a very strong manner. I will never again put myself down. It is not fair to myself that I speak to myself in a negative manner. I will continuously be that top G in whatever it is I do. I will never again speak to myself in that manner. Now, what happens when you do that to yourself? When you come across an opportunity and you don't know how to move on it, your subconscious then kicks in and says, "Hey Mo, you could do it. Why can't you do it? Who are you? You're just like anybody else. Anybody has the same opportunity that you have. You just got to put in the hustle. You just got to put in the grind. You just got to put in the work to get exactly what you want. So stop fearing yourself. Stop mind fucking yourself into fearing who you may fail to be. Chances are you're not going to fail. That's the reality of it. Now, if I want to go ahead and get into a new career or I want to get into a new opportunity and I set that opportunity forth, and I start working towards it, and then I stop and I sit there and I just manifest to myself, I'm gonna do great. I'm gonna be amazing. I'm gonna be the best version of myself. And then I sit down on the couch and all I do is watch Netflix. I got news for you guys. Nothing's gonna happen. Absolutely nothing will happen. You're manifesting a situation that is not going to work out for you because you're not working for it. See, in certain religions, there's some sayings that God says, if you work for me, I will work with you. Now, take religion out of it. I want you to realize if you work with your manifestation will work with you. But if you don't, your manifestation is nothing but farts on tiles. It's not going to help you. So you're not going to be able to do nothing with it. And that's what I'm talking about. This is exactly the point that I'm trying to get across. And I hope anybody listening today takes this into consideration, whether you are a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, a teen or an adult. Learn that your subconscious is your best friend. There have been times where I have been to the lowest point of my life. And had it not been for my subconscious, I would not have become the best version of myself to pull myself out of that situation. I have friends. I have people that are in my life constantly checking up on me, that I constantly reach out to. But that one being that I know will never fail me is my subconscious in my mind. If you're able to utilize this to the best of your ability on a consistent and calm basis, you will find the clarity that you're looking for. That Windex shine mirror that you're looking for can only be achieved if you give yourself the calmness and the clarity that you need, the calmness and the consistency that you need. Now, I need everybody here to start letting go of their pride and their ego and start achieving acknowledgement and acceptance. One part of us realizing acknowledgement and acceptance is realizing and coming to the terms that it's okay as human beings for us to make mistakes. Sometimes these mistakes manifest themselves over time into this big rolling ball of trauma. Now, why is it okay for us to accept our mistakes, acknowledgement, and acknowledge it and move forward with it? Is because we are now dealing with the situation at hand. You must not allow a situation, whether or not you're in the wrong or the right, to manifest itself into a larger situation that will hurt you down the road. It is not fair for you. It is not fair to you. Whether or not you're in the wrong or whether or not you're in the right, you need to step away from your pride. You need to step away from your ego and have that conversation and have that communication, only because it is important that you understand yourself first. I myself have come to the terms in my past where I have given forgiveness to somebody who hasn't apologized to me. And it's not because I am waiting for closure, but it's because I want to take grasp of that power for myself. I am acknowledging my issues. I am accepting of the fact that I may have messed up. I forgave myself for whatever the situation was. And this is part of you accepting your power back, retaining your power, and creating clarity for your life. And it is of the most utmost, it is so important that you realize this power that you have. Now, with that being said, I want to read a few excerpts out of this book, um, and just to give everybody a taste of transparency and vulnerability that I, as a man, brought forth to the world. And it's okay that if a man is vulnerable and transparent with you, but it's not okay to be disrespected. And half the time, the reason men are not vulnerable is because of their vulnerability is not respected. It takes a lot for a man to come to a woman, and I'm sure it takes a lot for a woman to come to a man, but when we are vulnerable, we subconsciously expect and may not communicate it, that our vulnerability is respected. It takes a lot for us to come out and say something. So, um, here we go. So it says, you must always see the cup half full. My brother will forever be in my life and he will forever be in my heart, and there's nothing I can do to change the past. Therefore, my time cannot be spent contemplating what could have been. Rather, I take in my previous pain, reflection, and hurt, and I have decided to maximize my time here on this earth so that my future reflection has nothing but positive images from the past. Can you allow your reflection of yourself to be one that is to remain happy? Or do you constantly want to be in a state of soulful negativity? So, Aste 87, I'm gonna actually stop this. I'm gonna reply back to that. Do you think men being vulnerable all the time is healthy? All right, so here's the thing. I don't think that men being vulnerable all the time is healthy, and here's why. Vulnerability has its weaknesses and it has its strengths, but if you're asking if a man should be vulnerable with his wife or his girlfriend or his partner all the time, the answer is no. And here's why. Sometimes we as men, we body a lot of issues. We deal with a lot internally that we really need a release for. Women cannot deal with situations like men can, and men can deal with situations like some women can. And that's totally okay. But to take the burden of your problems and place it onto your partner is not right. Vulnerability is okay when you want to open up to an individual and talk to an individual about what you're dealing with. Now, should you look for your partner or your friends for answers? I don't think so. And this is where vulnerability becomes a sticky situation, a sticky topic. For example, if I am dealing with, for example, when I was dealing with the loss of my brother, I knew I just couldn't go to my partner and play that to my partner all the time because it's placed a certain stress on my partner all the time that they couldn't handle, right? It's not because I couldn't give it to them or I was looking for a certain answer. It's because they did not know how to deal with the situation that I'm giving them. Now, nobody. Exactly. So happiness should only be found in oneself and not in anyone else. 100%. And this is where I was actually having this conversation with my therapist the other day, and I said to her, I said, I cannot save somebody that doesn't want saving to themselves. So basically, I cannot look for happiness in anybody else. I need to find it within myself first, and then I need to align myself with somebody else that has found their happiness as well. Now, can vulnerability be healthy? Yes, it can. I come to my partner when I'm in a relationship. I come to my partner and say, listen, I'm dealing with some things. I'm not feeling the best. My mind is going places I don't want it to go. Just so that you know, my actions, the reason my actions are my actions is because of the way my mind is right now. And that's healthy vulnerability. But if I'm not seeking help in other places, if I'm not going to a therapist, if I'm not surrounding myself with alpha males, with males that know how to fix my problem, or if I'm not going to see and I'm not seeking help in other places, then that becomes very negative and toxic vulnerability. Because now I am placing all this emotion, all this trauma, all this burden on this one person And this one person may not know how to deal with that. That is vulnerability that is not okay to give out, because what's this other person have to do with your issues? So it's good to communicate, and part of communication is understanding. A lot of us communicate but do not understand. I mean, a lot of us communicate to have someone listen, but the other person may not know that they communicate to reply, but they do not communicate to understand. And that is the main issue with us communicating or verbalizing our vulnerability. So that is where working on oneself comes into play. And this is exactly what I was talking about: acknowledgement, acceptance, and avoidance. It's key for men and women, for both genders. We're going to say both genders because that's all that exists. For both genders to seek acknowledgement and acceptance of their own situations within themselves. Now, let's see, everyone will be something. Yeah, but you got to also understand so I'll bring this home to you a little bit more, and you may not know my story, or you may have watched some of my videos, but I'll bring it home to you a little bit closer. In 2011, when my younger brother passed away, I allowed my situation to become me. I allowed my trauma to absolutely destroy me. And it wasn't because it needed to make me stronger, but it was only because I did not know how to deal with it. My laptop is dying. I gotta plug it in. Guys, 1 second. So it wasn't because I did not know how to deal with it. Well, it was because I did not know how to deal with it, but more importantly, I did not realize how to work the situation in my favor. I mean, nobody really expects a situation, of losing somebody or losing a job or a divorce or any situation that may be relevant to you, regardless of its severity. I may not understand it. Somebody else may not understand it, but it's important that you realize that that is your situation, that is your trauma. I did not realize that it would absolutely destroy me before it made me stronger. Now, a lot of the times we experience life not realizing that the situation we're in right now will play out for our benefit in the future. The struggle of today will be the retention that we need for tomorrow, meaning what we go through today is a lesson. It is not a loss. Regardless of how we want to look at it, it's always a lesson. Some people say, take this L. It's not. You're not taking an L. You're taking a lesson. You're taking a lesson. And this is what I mean about acknowledging and to regulate your mind to work for it to work for you. Your mind is what you feed yourself. What you feed your mind is exactly the way you start living. If I start seeing positive things, listen, I don't watch the news. There's a reason I don't watch the news. When my family comes to me and starts telling me, oh, there was a stabbing here and a shooting here and this person, I don't want to see it. I don't want to hear it. Not because I'm avoiding it, but because whatever I feed my subconscious is exactly what my subconscious will then give back to me tenfold in the future. Now, the lessons that we have today, we may not realize will play out for us in the future. But this is where forgiveness comes in. We need to be forgiving to ourselves. We need to be forgiving to the situation that we're currently in. Because life does not come with an outline, with a rubric, or with a booklet that says, if you deal with this situation, this is what you need to do. If this situation happens, this is what you need to do. It doesn't. It does not. What ends up happening is life throws at you your trials and tribulations and says, deal with it and figure it out. Now, it's up to you whether or not you're going to let this situation destroy you or make you or break you. And I refuse to have anybody that follows me, that listens to anything I say, have that break me point here. Break or make. This break is not happening. Absolutely not. I will refuse it for anybody to have life break them rather than them start making life to what they want it to be. Now, I'm going to continue just here before I continue responding to your comments. It says, help is also there for you to ensure a more tasteful reflection. If you must stare at the person in the mirror, then by all means do so. But remember that your thoughts and ideologies are going to be seen by yourself. At one point, I had to take control of who I was at that present moment, and it was only then that I noticed the man in the mirror was a different human being. My self-confidence was at an all-time low, and although people would think I was a very confident human being, deep down I was scared, and I couldn't think for myself to save my life. I started to realize that if I didn't become transparent toward the man in the mirror, I wasn't ever going to match my inner being with my outer image. Now, pause there for a second. I have social anxiety. As an example, I walk into a room, I'm already anxious as hell. But what helps me get over my social anxiety, and Eric from Vivid Edge Productions is witness to this, is my subconscious, because I talk to myself. I continuously tell myself, it's okay, you'll get through this, open up the conversation, realize who you have become, the work that you've put in, the hustle that you put in, and you will succeed at this. Because everybody else here probably is going through the same thing, but you yourself will work this out because you are no different than everybody else. I was real with myself. I began admitting my mistakes and shelling out anything that I did not want in my life. The biggest aspect that helped me change and become a better human being was the ability to be selfish with the man looking back at me in the mirror. And this comes from clarity. I gave it to myself first. And it wasn't that love was not given to anyone, but rather I gave it to myself first. Beginning to fall in love with myself allowed me to wake up and look at myself in the mirror and not only realize that, hey, I am not my past. I am not even this moment. Rather, I am who I want to be in the near future. Believe me when I tell you, you can wipe that dirty mirror and start over if you ever so choose. Your future depends on what you want to do today. Become the driver in your life. And this is how we go back to today is the day that you become you again. Today is the day that you start embodying who you are as a human being, forgiving yourself, chasing that opportunity and that chance that God has given you in the morning when you wake up to seize everything that you ever wanted to get to exactly where you want to be. I'm sorry for anybody who's ever lost anybody. I feel you. I may not have felt the exact same pain because we have different memories and different childhoods and different situations that we've been in with those individuals. But the pain is pain. Pain is temporary. Unfortunately, we learn to live with it, with any kind of loss. Now, when you envision yourself, I'm gonna leave everybody with one last thing before we end this live, because we've been going on for 48 minutes and we want to get into a few other things about what I've been doing. So listen closely. I want you to listen close, okay? And drop some likes in here or double tap the screen or whatever it is. Wave at me. Here's one thing I'm going to leave everybody with, and I hope everybody here has been really absorbing what I have to tell them, because it comes from a place of genuine love to try to become the best version of yourself. It says, when you envision yourself walking down the street, what is it that you see? Do you see the faults and imperfections that gave you the absolute essence of life? Do you see how people see you? Or do you see a version of you that existed just for that split second? The truth is, you see what you feel, and you can sometimes control that. But what if your thoughts don't coincide with what your guts is telling you? Towards the end of everything that has happened with me, I began to realize that it is myself who is my worst enemy. And if I am able to befriend my worst enemy, I have become the best version of myself. It is super important to realize that even if you haven't in the past, I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, if you've fallen off the bandwagon, whether or not you're a woman or a man, it is important to realize that you can forgive yourself, start today, and become the best version of yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mohammed Nawaf Talib. I am the author of Hustle for Happiness, A Decade's Walk. I am your future favorite Canadian motivational speaker. I am live currently on YouTube. If you haven't, please go subscribe. You will find me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. My tag is Mr. Frank G. If you haven't subscribed, go subscribe. If you haven't bought the book, go buy the book. It's available on Amazon worldwide. I will be doing this live once a week, 4 times a month, talking about different aspects so that you and I embark on this journey of becoming the best versions of ourselves. The book is called Hustle for Happiness, Decades Walk. We are giving away I repeat, over 500 to 600 pieces of fresh clothing to a homeless shelter in the next upcoming months. We are raising funds for the Center of Addiction and Mental Health located in Toronto to help anybody that's going through mental health in 2023. We are also raising, we are also asking for donations of perishable items and funds so that we can donate to the Mississauga Food Bank. And if there's anything that you need from me, please do reach out to me in the next couple of months. I will be taking on a few, I don't want to call you guys clients, but a few human beings that need help, and you can use my services at all times. My services include basically wake-up calls, motivational calls, clarity calls, and push calls. Not to mention, we will have one-on-one conversations where we talk about what you're dealing with. I will talk to you about my transparency, my vulnerability, and what I went through in my life in the last decade and a half. And we will work on becoming the best version of you together. Please do not feel like you are alone in this world. You are not. I am here for you. If you are a man that's dealing with anything, I want you to understand that your brothers are also here to help you. If you are a woman, I want you to understand that your fellow men along in life are here to help you out. So again, don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, hit up my Instagram, my YouTube, and my TikTok so you see what's going on with everything. The H4H Foundation is finally live. Hit up the link in the bio on the H4H Foundation to see the GoFundMe. Please donate, help us on our journey to give back. And yeah, I appreciate everybody working out and listening to my life. I appreciate you identifying as a turtle. Thank you. I say thank you for joining Vivid Edge Productions and Gazebo Burgers. If you guys haven't, you must go to Gazebo Burgers and try out their burgers because they are absolutely fire. And I will be working with them in the next couple of weeks on advancing something to the Mississauga and Toronto community where everybody could come and enjoy the best burger in town. And I don't say that about any burger because I love my stomach and I have a Lebanese mother that cooks good food. So from now until the next live, stay blessed. Remember triple A's, your acknowledgement, acceptance, and avoidance, your calmness, clarity, and consistency. And please forgive yourselves and allow love into your life. Until then, my name is Mohammed Nawaf Talib. I will be your favorite Canadian motivational speaker one day. Until then, we will speak soon with love. Ciao, ciao. And otherwise, YouTube, thank you for listening in. It was a pleasure having everybody here. I know nobody may have joined, but that's okay. This is only motivation for the future. We will chat again. Until then, peace.